Hey, and welcome back to Game Talk. I'm your host, Damon Beyond. Today I'm joined by Connor.
Hey, guys.
And Mike.
Hello.
Before we get started today, I think it's worth mentioning it has been quite a while since our last episode. I think at least a month, if I'm not mistaken. And a lot of things have been happening in the gaming industry in that month. Sony had a small state of play with some pretty relevant news, and much bigger, Microsoft had their big games showcase for the summer. And we're going to be talking about that. But before we do, just a couple notes. So we recorded 2 episodes that have not been released yet. And I think the way this is going to work is that this episode you're hearing right now will come out first. And then in the coming weeks, as my schedule permits, I'll additionally release the 2 episodes that are kind of just percolating right now. So hopefully we'll get those out to you soon. But without out of the way, guys, I think we should start off by talking about the Xbox showcase.
Show.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good show.
Starfield.
Yeah, Starfield got shown. It looks like No Man's Sky, except maybe slightly more interesting.
I do like the systems.
We'll talk a lot about Starfield. Obviously, that was probably the biggest showcase game they had.
Yeah,
but I do want to note, I think, let me just put this out there. Phil Spencer is the man, right? Like, this man has single-handedly turned Xbox around. And I read an interview saying, like, how last year's showcase, he was super disappointed in it because of all the CGI trailers. Like, this guy really gets games. I
remember you complaining about all the CGI trailers last year too.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, I'd much rather see gameplay, and that's exactly what we got.
There was like one in particular that really killed me last year. It was the Fable showcase. That was like, it was just
like a concept trailer or something.
Yeah, it was just like they were making fun of cinematic trailers.
While being a cinematic trailer.
Yeah, and I was like, all right.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's not, it would have been funny 25 years ago, maybe. Like,
but no, credit to Phil Spencer. He was like, yeah, I didn't like what I saw last year. I want us to put actual gameplay in the showcase. And if that means limiting your show to games that come out within a year, by all means do it. Like, this is what we want to see.
Especially when you have this much stuff to show too. So
yeah. So without further ado, I think we should just get started. The first thing they showed off was Redfall, which is
I missed this, but I remember being excited for this game.
So they showed a CGI trailer last year, right? We actually saw gameplay this time around. And I don't know, like, this is an Arcane game, right, Mike? Like,
yeah.
But like, the tone, it's just something not really appealing to me. I don't know.
Feel like an Arcane.
Exactly.
Game.
Yeah.
It just felt like a Left 4 Dead clone, or it looked like one.
Yeah, those are the kind of vibes I got. I'm sure the gameplay will be there, but I wasn't left terribly impressed with Redfall personally.
Yeah.
So why are vampires so big right now?
Because zombies are dead.
Vampires have always been big, right?
Yeah,
like,
they have.
Not this big. I mean, like, just in the past few months, we've had, like, Vampire, the Masquerade got a new game recently, or it's coming.
Vampire Survivor, that indie game.
Vampire Survivor, V Rising, Redfall. I think there's another big budget vampire game coming soon. It just feels like they're really, really big right now. And I don't get why.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I've enjoyed a lot of it, but
Resident Evil 8 Vampire Lady.
That's why. That's why vampires are big. That's big vampire mommy came out. That's why.
Yeah. I didn't know she was a vampire. I didn't play that game.
No, big time vampire.
Yeah, kind of.
But yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have anything else to say about Redfall? I mean, it looks okay. Like, it's not.
That's what's so hard about all of these is I will probably play. Like, even the games that I'm not real excited about on this list, they're all coming to Game Pass, so I'm playing them, baby.
Almost. I will say almost everything shown. I think like 95% of the games shown had like the coming day one to Xbox Game Pass like addendum at the end of their trailers, which is very impressive.
Yeah, I can't think of one that didn't have it.
I remember noting a couple, but like they were really small games. Like all the big ones are obviously going to be there. But this next game is a game I'm sure we're all excited for. Hollow Knight Silksong. When this showed up, I was just like, finally, right? Like, we've been waiting for this forever.
Honestly, I wasn't even excited when I saw the trailer. It was more like a feeling of relief. And then
while watching the trailer, I was like, "Are they going to like shadow drop this? Like that would be absolutely
I kind of
wild."
expected that too. Yeah,
But then like the trailer ended and there was no date, which is just mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, I felt like, why did they even do it? Because like I am no more excited for it now than I was before the trailer.
It is. I think what's going on with Silksong is that like the scope has just blown up like exponentially. Like they intended the game when they set out to be a lot smaller than it ended up being.
It was originally a DLC for Hornet.
It was originally a DLC, right? And now it's like a full-blown game like on the same scope as Hollow Knight, which as we know is like a massive, massive game. So yeah, I just can't help but feel like I couldn't believe there was no date at the end of that trailer. Like granted, like yes, it's probably coming out within a year, but still, like
it's definitely. It is as close to confirmed as possible. Like it is equally confirmed as to if they had a date that it will be out in the next year. They said they specified specifically for Silksong everything in this showcase is coming out within the next year.
Yeah.
So
all right, yeah.
See you next June.
Yes, see you in 2023. Yeah. Probably summer 2023, that's my guess.
See you next June. That concludes Game Talk.
Yeah, right. The next one, this was kind of interesting. A Justin Roiland game, which basically just looks like a Rick and Morty FPS called High on Life.
I'm Mick. There have been a few games that Justin Roiland's done that like...
It's funny.
I enjoy accounting as like accounting.
He uses the same Morty voice in every show, in every game, and for some reason, I just find it funny. Like it's.
I think that's why he does
it. Do nothing.
It's pretty silly. Like, yeah, I mean the games themselves overall are pretty mediocre, but like this one
was fine. Like for like an early VR game.
Yeah, I mean but this one actually seems like it might have some substance to it. Right? Like it's not just like a brief VR experience like a lot of his previous ventures.
Yeah, the trailer didn't do anything to make me think that it doesn't have substance, but it also didn't really do anything to make me think that it does. Like the gimmick is that all your guns talk to you. Like that's the game. Like
that's the joke.
I guess that's how like Roiland can like insert his humor into the game. Yeah. But like yeah, I do find it interesting. He does seem pretty set on like game making as well as obviously his animated show work. So it's nice to see him sort of like
he's also
as a developer.
I've heard rumors that he's bringing a lot of like the old school kind of funny people from the internet into that game.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Yeah. So like
we'll see,
the smiling friends.
We'll see how that plays. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it looked interesting enough, right? Like it's something I'll keep an eye on, I think.
Yeah.
But okay, so this next announcement I'm sure is quite spicy, controversial, exciting for some, what have you.
This actually made my blood pressure go up. I thought about turning off the showcase.
So Microsoft announced that basically a partnership with Riot, right? And for League of Legends, Valorant, and let's see what else.
Such a good deal.
Legends of Runeterra, you unlock all champions, which I can't overstate how massive that is, right? Like that is like how much of a dollar value would you put on that, Mike? Like because champions,
there's 100
champions are what, like $10 to unlock?
Some of them are cheaper.
Yeah,
there's about 140 some champions in League of Legends.
Yeah, so let's just, even if we put it at like $1,000 value, that's like what? Like, especially for, like, obviously hardcore League of Legends fans, like, probably already have all the champions unlocked. But I know there are a lot of people, like, on the periphery that are, like, casually interested in League, but don't want to grind out champions and stuff like that. This is, like, their ticket to really getting into League.
Yeah, there's 332 champions that have a $10 price. Just to put that in perspective, that's $320.
And that's just League of Legends, right? We're also talking Valorant, Teamfight Tactics, Legends of Runeterra, so, like...
Yeah, you get... That's such a good deal if you want to get into League of Legends.
So I was quite surprised by this. Like, I know, regardless of how we feel about Riot, they are an absolute force in the gaming industry. Like, they have millions and millions of diehard fans. And there are a lot of people who only play League, right? Like, that is their entire, like, vertical in the gaming world, right?
Don't look at me like that.
Xbox is aligning themselves with Riot like this, I think is beneficial to both companies.
Strong word for them.
Oh,
Well, I'm not a person.
I hate League of Legends.
League of Legends is great. What
I
do you
hate its
mean?
entire audience. I hate everything about it.
Oh, dang.
It's.
I feel
dude, you
so
can't deny
offended.
how massive it is, though.
It
you know,
is
like
absolutely a force.
Yeah,
It is
like,
a force that makes me not want to talk to people that like it.
Dang.
Well, you enjoyed Arcane, right? And that was based off League. of
Arcane was
Legends.
actually really good. Yeah,
Arcane
But,
was
like
stellar.
Yeah.
League of Legends has actually like made me not talk to people that were like.
So
my
I feel
best
like
friends
That's
for
okay.
years.
What there's a
like
story
some
here. There's a story here.
deep-seated, like, angst
So-
I
in
hate
you.
League of Legends.
There's
Where-
so-
where
such
does
a-
this hate-
It's. I mean, I bet there are people who have the same opinion about World of Warcraft. I bet that because it's a game that people play, and it consumes their entire lives.
Okay, I
they
see
don't
where
talk
you're coming
about
from.
anything else.
That's
And then
called
they
Genshin Impact.
they-
I don't know what you're talking about.
Like it's, and they just. Yeah, like I've lost people in my life to this game.
I've lost people in my life to Genshin Impact, so I mean,
My cousin, basically all he plays is League of Legends, and he calculated the hours. I think he's put like more than 1 year of his life into League, like actual time.
yeah, I feel like I've done that at least.
which is just, I just have no words for that. But
Yeah, it's like-
he's really good. He's like in what? I think he's Diamond 5 right now.
It's just not a healthy habit. I would rather somebody use chewing tobacco than play League of Legends.
That's
All right.
all
I think you
right.
might be a
I
little
think
off
you
the
might
deep end
just.
here,
I
but-
think you might just be unhinged.
I recognize your strong opinions though.
Yeah, I want to take back. I don't hate everyone that plays League of Legends. That was a very strong take.
That was a
I
very
do
hot
hate League
take.
of Legends though.
Yeah.
I cannot stand that game, and it does raise my blood pressure to even think about it.
That still
Well,
baffles
yeah.
me.
I think that Xbox Game Pass is a worse deal for having all of this in it.
God.
Well, objectively, that's not true, but like, I get where you're coming from. Yeah.
It's like if you're going to the store and you scan your Kroger card and it automatically drops a pack of cigarettes in your in your
Hey,
bag.
I mean,
Hey, League of
I mean,
Legends might be my crack addiction, but I'd rather be playing League of Legends than, going out and doing crack. I could just stay home and play League of Legends. Same feeling.
I feel like crack would feel better.
No, League
I mean,
feels great. If I started playing ranked, and apparently ranked
is the
less
toxicity
toxic.
still? Is
That's
the
the thing
toxicity
that
still
kills me about League
as
is
bad
people-
as it is?
It's better in ranked.
been?
I have had less toxicity in ranked than I have in the 4 fun game modes.
Interesting. Okay.
That's so
That's-
bizarre.
The thing about League is most of the people I know that play it don't even like it, but they won't stop playing it.
I've really picked up on liking it the second I started playing ranked because it's less tilting. Everyone actually puts effort into the game when they're playing. When there's
Right.
things
yeah.
on the line.
But okay, yeah, I don't want us to go too off on a tangent here for League. League of Legends Riot partnership with Game Pass. It is a big deal, regardless of how you feel about League or not. Next, we got a showcase of A Plague Tale Requiem, which is, fine, which I do want to comment. A lot of these games have things like exclusive to Xbox, console exclusive, what have you. A lot of these games that were shown a couple days later got announced for like PC and PlayStation and some even Switch.
I think
so-
all of these are coming to PC.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of them are coming to PC.
all of them are
That's
coming to
just
PC, but like
general.
most of them got announced for PlayStation as well, which I did some digging. Apparently Microsoft has like some marketing deal where like 2 days after they show up on the showcase, they're allowed to say like, hey, we're also coming to X, Y, and Z platforms, which is a bit silly, but I get it.
I think
right? They
the
want the
biggest
they
announcement.
want the branding associated with them.
One of the biggest announcements that shocked me and angered a lot of people. Actually, two. Kojima going to Xbox.
I was going in order, but okay.
I wanted to highlight those before we start rambling for 3
Okay.
hours.
So yeah, let's talk about Kojima. So like he's building a cloud game using Azure, which is he says he has this concept for a game that he could not do until now because the
he's out of his
technology wasn't there.
mind.
I don't know how this is gonna play. I
He's
almost
just
feel like it's
he's just saying stuff.
yeah.
He's just throwing
I don't know.
garble out. It's Kojima.
What I will say now, it is interesting that no one has nabbed Kojima. He is working with both. He's working with Microsoft on this exclusive game. I believe it actually has a title too. but that wasn't revealed in the showcase. It got leaked or something. But I believe it's a horror game.
It's the Kojima way. Appear on screen, announce a game, refuse
And then,
to
like,
elaborate,
disappear for years.
leave.
Yeah.
I mean, what on earth is his cloud horror game?
I don't know.
Kojima, who knows?
He's just.
It could be. It could be Death
Like,
Stranding 3.
I'm just saying. I've heard the like this game can only be done with the power of the cloud thing. Like,
That's gonna be
I've
Death
yet to see,
Stranding.
right? Like,
I mean,
well,
wasn't
no,
it
he's
SimCity?
working on Death Stranding 2 for PlayStation.
I hate
That's
that
the game
exists.
he's doing for PlayStation. Yeah, so it actually exists, which blows my mind. I thought Death Stranding was going to be a one-off thing. So
yeah, it would make more sense as a one-off thing, but I don't really feel strongly one way or another about
It's
it having
Hideo
a sequel.
Kojima. He's a madman.
But yeah, like, I don't know. If anyone could do it, I guess it's Kojima, because he's crazy enough to, like, think of these things that no one else really thinks of. But, like,
I don't know that I agree with that, but
he is a pioneer. Like,
he
come
does
on.
weird stuff. He's never done anything technologically interesting before. Like,
Metal Gear, reading your memory card, Psycho
that's
Mantis.
not like
That's pretty cool.
that's not like
It's cool,
first
but it's
game
not
to
like
ever utilize a new technology.
huge.
tool.
He
Yeah.
just
That's
takes
just like a neat.
existing concepts and like kind of turns it on its head.
It's like comparing a party trick to like working at a circus. Like they're the same thing.
I don't know.
technically,
Metal Gear,
but
the Metal Gear Solid games were pretty revolutionary. Like
they're-
one.
No, I'm not
2,
arguing that they're
yeah.
not revolutionary. They're very cool. They were not technologically impressive.
I beg to like when Metal Gear Solid 2 came out, that was the most graphically advanced game in history. Like nothing even came close at that point in time.
What year was that?
2001.
It was a PS1 game, right?
No.
No,
it was PS2.
Metal Gear Solid 2 was a PS2 game.
No, it beat Metroid Prime. So you're right. It might have been the most graphically impressive game at the time.
But
that was early
anyways,
PS2.
okay. Yeah. But so this cloud, I'm trying to look at the name, but I can't find it now, but yeah, I don't know, like I have yet to see let me just put it this way. I'm not sold on the cloud the way everyone else is, at least in terms of for gaming, right? Like cloud gaming is nice, right? But like there's always a noticeable for me amount of input lag, even with like disgustingly fast internet.
Yeah.
And I don't personally can't envision like how cloud using Azure or something can produce a better game than just like a traditionally developed game. But I guess he's gonna try.
I mean, like, other than like using it to host multiplayer servers or something, but like that's not.
I don't know.
That's
Yeah.
not worth announcing because people have been doing that forever with AWS.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think it's just a bit of a buzzword, and now he's kind of obsessed with it, and he's going to make something of it one way or another. And because he's Kojima, you know, like Microsoft's going to throw their full support behind him. so whatever whatever he wants to make will get made, whether we want it or not.
Good, and people will buy it. I think it will be at least fine, but
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though. Like, I don't think Kojima, at least in my books, has produced a dud yet.
Me neither.
Right? Like, everything
think
he's
so.
made is at least interesting. So
yeah, I agree with that.
So
Even though
yeah.
I've never like fallen in love with any of it, but it's all like fine at the very least. Fine to pretty good.
But yeah, like just the having him on the Xbox showcase was a powerful statement, right? Like
Yeah.
saying that, you know, we are working with Kojima, and like if we're working more closely with Japan, we can get into that stuff too. But like the announcement of like partnership with Atlas, bringing Persona 3, 4, and 5
Oh my god, that's nuts.
Game
yes.
Pass.
Nuts.
Not just Persona 5, Persona 5 Royal too.
Royal,
So, like,
yeah.
I've not played that yet, so I will probably abandon my current Persona 5 playthrough that I never finished.
It's
and
probably worth it, yeah, to
restart
play
and
Royal. It's just a lot of Persona, you know? Like,
it'll be
these
nice to
three
have
games
4K and
alone
stuff.
is like, what? At least 300 hours of gameplay
Oh yeah,
across these three games.
on
you know,
the
so
light
like,
side probably. 'cause
yeah,
it's the
like-
extended versions of all of them.
yes, so, yeah. And Persona, if you've never played Persona before, you're in for a treat. Like, Persona, there's something very special about Persona, and now it's being introduced to a whole new audience, which is really cool.
Yeah, 'cause
Okay.
I think Persona 4 was the only one on PC so far.
Yeah, Persona 4 Golden.
Yes,
was
Persona
on
4
PC.
Golden came out to Steam somewhat recently, actually.
Yeah,
before
it was
before
on
that,
my
it was
wish
only
list.
on Vita, actually.
I just never got it. It was on my wish list, but I never got around to buying it. Now I'm kind of glad because I'll just play it on Game Pass.
Alrighty, so this next game, I think along with Redfall is going to be Xbox exclusive. I think it's important to highlight the exclusives. This next game is probably their biggest exclusive aside from Starfield, obviously, and that's Forza Motorsport. I don't have much to say about this because I don't care about car games at all.
Yeah, I went and made dinner while this trailer was
right.
Yeah.
Actually, I was like kind of looking, I was kind of counting down the seconds. I was like, all right, they're spending way too much time on this.
Actually,
like,
did
I
this
don't care.
include the Forza Horizon 5 stuff? No, that's later. Okay.
So yeah, this is a new game, Forza Motorsport, coming in 2023. And I don't know, like
There is one
it
thing
looks
I
fine.
want to say. They said something like they used like a number. They said their physics simulation was like 40 times more, and I was like, Shut up.
Yeah, I heard that, and I
thing.
called BS on that. I was just like, what are you even?
What is your
trying to convey
metric
here?
for that?
Yeah.
Like you're just throwing numbers at people.
Yeah.
I mean, it did look good. The game's beautiful, but like, I hate marketing departments sometimes.
Yeah. I know it was cringy for sure. But yeah, Forza Motorsport, and I know a lot of people prefer, I think, the Motorsport games over the Horizon games because I guess they're a more traditional racing experience or something to that effect. So I'm sure those fans are happy that this is coming sooner rather than later. They did have a quick announcement for Flight Simulator getting Halo vehicles and stuff. Yeah, and
that's
planes
out now,
and
isn't
copters and stuff.
But it's getting
no, in November.
Oh, was but they announced it like the Halo, the Pelican. The Pelican's available now.
Yeah, the Halo ship is available now.
Yeah, that's the one I was excited for. That looks sick.
That's kind of goofy, but
it's extremely goofy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like Microsoft cross-pollinating their IP within games, which
I'm super here for it.
Go for it. Then we got Overwatch 2, which I guess I'll just like take my hands off and let you guys rag on it because I'm
announced as a free-to-play game. Because that was
so
the only
dumb.
way they could get anyone to play it.
Yep.
Yeah, as someone who's very, has only played Overwatch 2 very casually, like once when it first came out, this basically or Overwatch 1, rather, this looked like Overwatch 1 to me. Like, I
couldn't tell if it was a DLC
discern
or Overwatch 2 at first.
any difference.
It just
apparently there are
like
6
Overwatch.
players instead of 5 on each team.
No, it's down to 5. It was 6
it's
originally.
down to 5.
Yeah,
It was
they
6
got rid of a
before.
tank. So every one of the pro teams that Blizzard has spent obscene amounts of money to keep the scene alive had to cut a player.
Oh my god.
Man.
Yeah, it was
and
awful.
But no, this game just looked... I will say, I do have one nice thing to say about Overwatch, which is that its game feel, like the sound effects and stuff that it plays...
I remember it being quite good
like the
when I
hit
played
markers
it.
and everything. Other than that, I was bored in less than an hour of playing it, and I never touched it again.
I played it very heavily.
And I don't know, like, people are mad about this, right? Like, people are not satisfied with what they've shown of Overwatch 2, and, like, it seems to be a mess just from an outsider's perspective, but I truthfully don't know too much on the matter.
It's Blizzard. When was the last time they made a good game? It's been a while.
Yeah, point.
I have never been on Blizzard's team, really, but I know that even people who really like Blizzard are not happy with them in the past, like, decade.
Yeah, Diablo, what is...
Diablo
game.
3, Diablo Immortal just came out. People are not fond of that.
No, people aren't having a good time with that one.
Diablo 4, I saw a trailer for. Was that in this?
Well, that was at the showcase, yeah. And
looks
people
fine.
are excited for that, yeah.
Somewhat.
I bet they'll turn, the public opinion will turn when the game comes out, I bet. I'm not convinced Blizzard is capable.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I know people really, really like Diablo. Like, that's a huge, huge game. So,
Which is why
and what's
people are so mad
interesting,
about
I guess we
Immortal.
can just talk about Diablo since we're talking about it. But they announced a new playable class, which I guess
the
is a big
Necromancer,
deal.
I think.
But they also, like, what's interesting is this is a Blizzard game, right? It is also coming to PlayStation 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Which I did not expect. I guess
It's
this
been in
is one of
development a long time.
The buyout also hasn't
True,
taken
but-
place yet.
I mean, Starfield's been in development for a long time, and it's an exclusive. But
Microsoft hasn't officially bought out Blizzard yet.
That's true, right? But like, I don't know. Like, I would
Starfield's
think.
also kind of a bigger get than Diablo. Like, Diablo has its fans that are, like, very hardcore.
Honestly, man, I feel like they're pretty comparable. Like, Diablo is huge, man.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying Starfield is gonna do... It's not gonna do Skyrim numbers, but it's gonna do Elder Scrolls
It's gonna do a
numbers.
lot, yeah. All right, moving on. Yeah, so they announced a new strategy game, which I thought was kind of interesting. Kind of looked like Civ, but a little more fantastical. It was called Ara History Untold, but I think this is still very early on. Like this, they didn't really show gameplay from what I remember. So like, I don't know if there's much to discuss about this, but I do remember being interested, just by virtue of the fact that it was a new strategy game, a first party strategy game, which is cool.
I'm always interested when a strategy game comes to Game Pass, because one of the reasons I don't get real into Civ is because the best way to play Civ is like with all the DLC, and that's exhausting to me. Like, I get it, some people are really into it, but the idea of like buying my game and like I only have like a fifth of the game now, kind of exhausting. I just don't bother with it. But if it's on Game Pass, I assume I'll get all or most of the DLC if that happens with it.
Right, yeah.
Or maybe they'll just give me a finished game. That would also be cool.
Also, play Civ on your PC. It's like not meant to be played on console.
Well, yeah, but this was a PC showcase as much as it was a console showcase.
I mean, yeah, they're synonymous now with Xbox. So.
Yeah. Every one of these games is coming to PC, so.
Yeah. There were a couple Bethesda announcements about expansions to their live games, right? So Elder Scrolls Online High Isle and Fallout 76 you get to play in Pittsburgh or whatever.
Yeah, I'm mad about the Fallout 76 thing for like a really petty reason. I was watching it, and they
already
announcing
abandoned
it.
like West Virginia or something.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, you're right. That was what was wrong with Fallout 76.
Yeah.
West Virginia, not that it was like a bad game. You know,
I mean,
they just
I mean,
had to get it out of.
Like West Virginia's always gonna be blamed for everything. Like
Feeling very
people
dunked on.
don't like West Virginia, but
No.
yeah, whatever. I mean, Fallout 76, I would still never ever touch that
I'm
with a 10-foot
surprised they're
pole.
still
So
working on it, honestly. I guess it's
I mean,
making money. It's
People
gotta
still
be.
play it.
here's the thing, like I don't know, like people play these MMOs, people play live service games, like regardless of the quality. I feel like almost.
Well,
I don't know if
people
that's a hot
like-
take, but
Like Elder Scrolls Online, people like that game.
you know,
I
Elder Scrolls Online seems fine, but like Fallout 76, really?
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't know
whatever.
who's playing it now. I mean, maybe some whales are still playing it. I don't know how its monetization is.
I have no idea. I think it's like a subscription to just play it.
Is it really? Because I know it was like a paid
I don't
game
know
to
if
start
it's
off.
free to play.
I think it went free to
No,
play at some
it's not
point.
free to play,
I've never
I don't
touched
think.
it, so
Yeah, it's like WoW, I'm pretty sure. You have to like pay to play it.
that's nuts.
Okay, so Forza Horizon 5 Hot Wheels update.
This looks
That's-
awesome, and I'm gonna play it.
That's nice, I guess.
I think it
I
looks
was
so
never like a
fun.
Hot Wheels kid. So
Me neither. I was never like I'm not about the cars, but like my problem with Forza Horizon was that like the races were. I mean, my problem was that it was a Forza game, which is just not really appealing to me in general, I guess. But adding this, like, it gets all wacky and stuff. Like, you and I both played the Forza Horizon intro, right? And like had a really
oh yeah,
good
that's like
time.
all I've played from that
Yeah.
game, like over and over.
And then the game got kind of dry after that. This looks like a way for them to kind of get that hype back, and I'm super here for it.
Yeah, if they can somehow like for Forza Horizon 6 just turn the first like 20 minutes of Forza Horizon 5 into like the entire game, that'll
the
be a
budget
bomb
for
game.
that would be nuts. but-
Yeah. Anyways, okay, so Arc 2
Diesel
announcement
They got
for
a
Arc
release
2. I
date.
don't
I feel like
Vin Diesel says you're not a gamer if you're not excited for Arc 2, by the way. So
yeah, true. He's right.
yeah, I truthfully I know nothing about Arc. I just know it involves dinosaurs on a different planet or something.
Yeah, I was gonna
Are
say
either of
different.
you
I'm
excited for this?
I hate Arc 1. Why would I like Arc 2?
Okay.
I've never
All right.
tried it. If it's on Game Pass, I might
Arc
try
is
it.
like pain.
A lot of these survival games just have a real
Yeah.
grind problem that
We'll talk about that later.
is.
I'll talk
I
about
don't,
what games I've been playing.
yeah, I don't know the solution to it necessarily.
So, a couple quick ones because I don't know if there's anything too much to note here. Scorn, which was like a kind of
I
looked
like
a
the
horror
body
game.
horror.
Yeah, if it's
And-
short, I'll for sure play
I
it.
expect.
Yeah,
And Flintlock, which looked like a pretty, in my opinion, a generic like
I liked
action
it.
adventure game.
Looked
Looked fine.
fun.
So this next one is probably pretty big. Minecraft
Okay,
Legends.
that was hype.
So this is a Minecraft strategy game, which, yeah, I don't know like how much overlap there is between Minecraft and like other genre enjoyers, but
see,
Sure,
I don't
give
think
it a
it
shot.
matters because that's not the point. in my opinion. Like,
I mean, I think the point is, like, I feel like Minecraft by itself will sell things. Right?
Yeah, I think the point is that, like, this is baby's first strategy game. Like, and I'm not saying that it won't have any depth for someone like me, because I actually might try this game. I'm not that good at strategy games, so this actually kind of appeals to me. But I think the idea, if it has Minecraft building mechanics and stuff, I think that could be an interesting addition to a strategy game. But also, this is like Xbox has all these strategy games they're making, and they have all these kids that love Minecraft. If they can use Minecraft to kind of get those kids, one foot in the door of strategy games, then they've got more kids playing their games.
Yes, revitalize my favorite genre.
Is my take.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's a cool thing. I'm glad they're doing it.
I definitely think they're capitalizing on Minecraft as an IP to make different kinds of games, which is kind of neat.
Do you think they did? Do you think they knew that they were going to own Diablo when they did that other Minecraft game that is like Diablo-esque?
Minecraft Diablo?
I don't know which game you're talking about.
It's the like action adventure Minecraft game.
Realms?
I mean, well, to answer your question, I want to say no, because like it might have been like
something.
It might have been in the works, like the deal might have been in the works, but they surely didn't know back then.
Because it does feel like it's just getting a bunch of kids into that style of game. But
Yeah.
It's like putting kids on
All right,
crack.
so
Once you play one Diablo game, you play
so
them all.
I kind of want to. So I'm gonna like rapid fire off the next few games. If any of them catch your fancy, we can pause and talk about them. But this is Lightyear Frontier, which looked kind of like a No Man's Sky kind of like resource farming kind of game.
Is it? Like, it didn't seem like it was gonna be multiple planets. It seemed like it was more like
It seemed like it was one planet, yeah.
Yeah,
But like the
yeah.
mining mechanics reminded me a lot of No Man's Sky.
I liked it though. I think it looked fun. It reminded me of there's some anthology show I watched that was like, there was an episode where there were these farmers that drove mechs and they had to fight off. It might have been Love, Death, and Robots.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was a good episode. I don't remember what it was in, but it looked a lot like this.
The game looked it looked neat enough, I thought.
For something on Game Pass, especially if it has crossplay, I will play it.
Gunfire Reborn, which was like a 4-player co-op roguelite with like weird animal characters. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Alley, Connor?
You would think so, but I don't remember seeing this.
I know it's been in
at all.
early access for a little bit on Steam.
I love roguelites, but roguelite and RPG elements, you kind of lose me there. I don't like getting stronger in between my runs in a roguelite.
That's...
So you don't like roguelites?
I like Hades specifically, but in general, like, I'm less likely to like your game if I get stronger in between runs.
Yeah.
I'm not saying those are bad games or anything. That's just a preference.
Yeah. Moving along, The Last Case of Benedict Fox. This was a really moody trailer. It seemed interesting enough to me. Like, I think it's like a 2D Metroidvania. It's hard to really tell what kind of game it is, but like it seemed interesting.
I must have turned off the showcase or something. Something must have happened in my house because I don't remember like any of these.
Yeah, these were like a lot of like rapid fire. Like they didn't really focus on them. They were pretty quick. As Dusk Falls, I gotta say, like I rolled my eyes so hard when I saw this trailer. I was just like, another one of these really.
Like an
I'm sorry.
Right? And I have a bad history with liking.
Let me be. Okay, so let me be perfectly clear here. I really enjoy like Life is Strange and like those kinds of games, but like I don't know. This trailer just felt like it was trying too hard, and it really just kind of went over the edge for me. And I was just like,
I think my key point was like,
I really didn't like the art style.
Where's the game here? Am I just watching a movie?
Because it was just like a bunch of actors, and like the cutscenes were like all stills, like it wasn't even animated. Like, what are you trying to push on us here? Like,
yeah, I wasn't into it.
Okay, yeah, moving on. Naraka Blade Point. I actually don't remember this at all.
Yeah, it's been out for a while
game?
on PC.
What? Okay, maybe it's good.
Pentiment, and I remember. Okay, so this one had like that unique visual style, and it was an Obsidian game, right? Pretty sure.
Oh yeah, I think I will like this one. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of looked like an old school RPG, but with like a really unique kind of like 2D art style.
No, this is the art style I really didn't like, but I think it's gonna. I think that's how this one's gonna be. Is like you're either gonna like it or you're not. It's
it's definitely it seems pretty unique, and it's Obsidian, so like it does have that going for it. Yeah. So might keep an eye on that one.
I don't think I'll enjoy it.
Then we got I don't know. Then we got a full showcase release date, whatever, of Grounded, which is the full game's releasing in September.
And it kind of showed some fun stuff.
It looked really fun, and it surprised me when it said like 10 million players are already playing this. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that big.
I mean, I'm kind of curious how they got that number, because I know a lot of people that tried it when it first came to Game Pass for about half an hour and then never touched it again because it was
maybe
boring.
that's their peak number or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Like
no, granted,
I'm willing to give it another shot because it was really boring when I played it. It looks fun because it was so unfinished. So
yeah, it definitely looks fun to me, at least.
No, the buildings looked real. Like the base building side of it looked cool.
Moving on, Ereban. This was that cell shaded like game with like mechs and stuff. Don't really remember it too well, to be perfectly honest. Oh, you're like a ninja and you're like fighting mechs. I don't know.
Yeah, didn't leave a strong impression.
Nope. All right, moving on. We already talked about Diablo IV. Another announcement for Sea of Thieves. Yeah. New DLC, always good.
I even like Sea of Thieves, and I don't care.
Yeah, don't know if we need to. Yeah, Ravenlock, which another RPG it looks like.
Yeah, looks very RPG.
Yeah, didn't leave a strong impression to me though. Cocoon, creator of Limbo, which already like gets you points in my book, but.
Yeah, I like... Limbo is one of those games that I like, but I also think it's highly overrated, if that makes sense.
You would, yeah.
Like, it's fine. I don't think that it's as good as everyone thinks it is. But I will probably try this. I never played Inside.
How do you feel about Inside?
I never played it.
Yeah, I think I like Inside better than Limbo.
My problem with Limbo is that it, like...
You tried too hard?
I don't know. No, it just was like a pretty good narrative side scroller.
Did you play it when it came out?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it had been done like not by any game that ever got popular, but I'd seen it done before. So it just kind of did nothing for me. It was just it felt like I don't even know that this is what the developer's intent was, but the fans felt like they were like, story in a video game? Nobody's ever tried this before.
Yeah.
Like, and like they did a fine job. Like it was fine. It was good. It just
I thought Limbo was pretty good.
It didn't rewrite, didn't rewrite the book for me.
I think the atmosphere in Limbo is what I like the most.
It is very good, yeah.
Okay, so this next one I was actually pretty interested in. Wolong Fallen Dynasty. So when I first saw this, I was like, is this Neo 3? Like, this looked a lot like Neo to me, right? Mm-hmm. This is...
Yes.
Oh, yeah, dude, Neo 2 is fantastic. You haven't played it?
2. I thought Neo was the only game.
Yeah, Neo 2 is...
I haven't talked about it on this show.
It's kind of
Neo 2 is great. Yeah. People don't listen to me.
Honestly, all the Souls-like games are all forgettable. I don't remember half of them.
I don't know, man. Like, Neo's... of all the Souls-likes, I think Neo is the best, right? Like, Neo kind of puts its own spin on things, and it's really, really good. And I think way harder than Souls. I think my only problem with
Souls-likes is that they're at like a dime a dozen. Everyone makes a Souls-like at some point in their game development career. And if you haven't yet, you will
this is Koei Tecmo and Team Ninja, right? Like, they're known for their really good gameplay. So this game...
Team Ninja was on that.
So, yeah, this game is going to be... I think very, very good if you're into that sort of like fast-paced melee combat with a lot of depth.
Yeah.
And I totally thought this was like somehow Neo 3 when I was watching it, and I got very excited. But like this looks really good too. And I don't know, like this one, I don't know if it's coming to PlayStation. I think this might be Xbox only. We'll see. We already talked about Persona. I think it's time for the big one, right? I think it's time for Starfield? Yeah, so Starfield, okay, so this game, like, it looks good, right? But I can't help but notice, the jank, right? Like, the frame rate was, like, atrocious. Granted, it's still very far out, but, like,
It's not that far out, less than a year.
It being Bethesda, I do not have confidence in the frame rate being, like, rock solid when the game comes out. I thought, like you said, Connor, it looked a lot like No Man's Sky, right? Like a AAA No Man's Sky.
Especially, like, the resource gathering stuff that they showed.
It's the same, like, laser and everything.
It looked exactly like No Man's Sky, and I like No Man's Sky, but in its current state, but I am not saying that as a compliment. I think
I mean, like, I'm sure the resource gathering is less extensive than it is in No Man's Sky, because first and foremost, this is going to be an RPG. This is Skyrim in space. And Todd Howard said 1,000 planets, and let me tell you, I'll believe it when I see it. Right?
I will say, like, this is the one time that I sincerely hope that, like, he's, like, talking up, like, if there are 1,000 planets and 990 of them are just barren rocks,
right?
That would make me personally happy, because I get really mad when I play, like, No Man's Sky, for instance, and every single planet has life on it. That just, like, it's the stupidest thing in the world, because obviously a barren rock is not a very fun thing to have gameplay-wise. But
you're just interested in, like, the realism, I guess.
It's immersion breaking for me, personally. I don't know if anybody else, literally, I don't know if anyone else feels that way.
Yeah.
But me,
I don't know, like,
it gets to me.
The way I estimate this working is, right, I think Starfield will have a few major hubs, and most of these planets will be a lot of nothing, right? Like,
a lot of procedurally generated nothing, yeah.
But which is fine, right? Like,
well, it's a super fine, because it's going to support mods, I bet.
Oh, absolutely. But, like, but yeah, I don't know, Mike, you're kind of the biggest Bethesda head here. How do you feel about Starfield?
I like the ship customization, because that's
the ship customization actually looks really fun.
Really, like 100%. Every time I play a space game, I'm like, I really wish I could make this ship look cooler. And that sold me. I am sold. I am buying the game day one. I do not care.
And being able to do stuff on the interior of your ship also was significant to me.
Oh, yeah. Let me be clear. I am buying this game day one, because, like, this is Bethesda's next big RPG, and that's just something you can't miss, right?
I can't. I'm not. I'm gonna pre-order.
I will play it because it's on Game Pass. They have not.
I'm committing a sin.
Convinced me that like, if it wasn't on Game Pass, I don't know that I would buy it, but I will play it because
I will it's okay. Let me say, it's Skyrim when it was revealed in, like, 2010 or whatever, blew my socks off. Right, this did not do that. Right, like, this
gonna commit a sin. I'm gonna pre-order it.
Oh wow.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like, this is right up your wheelhouse, so I don't blame you. But, like, yeah.
It's an open world game, and I really hope of those 1,000 planets, 999 of them are boring. Because that's what I want. Exactly what I want.
So you and Connor are in agreement there. But, yeah, like, I know they're treating this, like, I think they said at one point, like, this is the most anticipated RPG in history. And I was just like, all right, let's calm down here. But, like, to an extent, right, like, they're right in their assessment that this is going to be massive with a lot of people. Like, the casual audience is going to be all over this, right? Like, if you just say Skyrim in space, that's all you need to do to sell this to people.
Yeah, I have a funny anecdote about them saying it was the most, what was the quote about it?
They said something about the most anticipated RPG in gaming history or something like that.
Yeah, I got a text from a friend saying, like, oh my god, are they talking about, and he was being genuine, there was no irony in this, he was like, are they about to talk about Elder Scrolls 6 coming out in the next 12 months?
I mean, that's going to be, that is clearly it, yeah.
It was unfathomable to him that they were talking about Starfield.
Yeah. I mean, let's be real. Like, Elder Scrolls 6, when it comes out, like, Skyrim still enters, like, top 10, top 20 monthly sales charts. Like,
yeah.
And that game came out over a decade ago, so.
But, I mean, yeah, that game's old enough now and has been talked about for so long that I don't feel like I can even, like, talk about Skyrim objectively anymore. Like, it's just such a part of the public consciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't not have, like, some sort of bias about Skyrim anymore.
Like, my inner like, hipster is
my hopes for Starfield are quite high, But it is right up my
Yeah.
wheelhouse of space game.
And don't get me wrong,
So,
space
I mean,
games up my wheelhouse too, right? Like Mass Effect, love it, one of my favorites of all time. And this seems like a very in-depth space RPG, which is something I want, right? Like Mass Effect Andromeda clearly did not deliver that, right? There
I think
is
it has potential to be a lot of really cool things. They just didn't show
and I
like what
do,
are the stats going to be? Like
I don't know,
Because
right?
that's gonna
There's a
matter
lot
to
we
me.
don't know about this game, but I did very much appreciate Todd Howard coming out and saying, yes, this is a silent protagonist, right? So this is very much in line with like the traditional, Fallout or Elder Scrolls RPG experience, which I don't know. Like, I guess some people might be hoping for voice acting from your protagonist, but
the gunplay
totally
looked fine,
preferred
too.
I
being silent.
wasn't.
Gunplay looked okay. I mean, I'm not expecting anything stellar.
I want
from
better than
gunplay.
Fallout, which is not a terribly high bar.
Yeah, that's a reasonable ask, I think.
Yeah, I
But
need a
yeah,
lot.
the general aesthetic of this game is very cool. I think,
fun,
right?
yeah.
It's very. I feel like it's
I
very
like-
NASA influenced.
It
which
reminded me a little
is
of
neat
Prey.
to
It's
me.
NASA punk.
What were you saying, Mike?
That's what they've described it as. They described it as
NASA
like
punk.
NASA
That's
punk,
what they
and I
said. Which
have to agree.
Which is a stupid term, but I get it. Yeah, that's kind of what it is.
I dig it.
And I don't know. Like it looks quite good to me. I just hope that Todd Howard does have a history of like saying things that don't necessarily end up being true. And I hope that this game, like, it does seem extremely ambitious. I hope it can run at least a stable 30 frames per second on console,
it can run.
right? Like,
Actually,
I
yeah,
mean,
that's another question. Where are you going to play this, Ahmed?
I'm gonna play this on Series X for sure.
Okay, even with your fancy new PC you got kicking around that can run all the mods and everything.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. I use my PC to play strategy games, and that's pretty much it.
Wild.
You what?
Yeah.
I just
Me and Connor are both like shocked and a little bit appalled.
I'm a console gamer first.
yeah,
so
I agree with that, but Bethesda games are PC games first.
they are. Yeah, but like, I
Yeah.
don't know. I feel like now that they're part of Microsoft, the Series X version is gonna have some love put into it.
It's gonna be good. I'm not saying that. I just like.
Plus,
You
like
know.
mods. Personally, to me, like mods are not something I'm terribly interested
yeah,
in.
but you're gonna have to fix the game.
Right? Like, assuming, yeah, yeah. So that's another thing with Bethesda games, right? Like, I don't know. Like, history does not. If we look at history, it doesn't look good, right? Like,
No.
more than likely, Starfield is going to be a buggy mess on launch, but maybe.
That's what I love, though. I love buggy messes.
Okay,
All
but
right. From Bethesda specifically, maybe.
yeah, like Bethesda.
Yeah, Bethesda buggy messes are always a good time.
I don't know, man. Like, it was
Because
it was
they're not, like,
endearing. It was
unplayable.
endearing until it wasn't. Right? Like, that's how I feel about Bethesda's launches. Right? So
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I do think that maybe them being under Microsoft now, they might be a little more accountable for like having a lot of that ironed out at launch, perhaps. But
They probably have more
Anyway.
money.
I mean, like, if
Funneled
worst
into
comes
them.
to worst and the console version is unplayable, yeah, I'll play it on PC, whatever. Like, I definitely want to get my hands on this game and play it. And it looks good, right? It's not knocking my socks off, but I'm very much anticipating more information. And as far as Xbox and Microsoft is concerned, certainly this is the game that I'm waiting for from them. I don't think anything else really, none of their exclusives are really speaking to me. Like Redfall, I could, don't really care about. Forza, could care less about. But this is definitely something I'm gonna play extensively.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to put a lot of time into it. Some people were like, it looks boring and generic. That's okay.
I mean, this was
Skyrim's pretty-
your first look at the game too, right? Like,
This is literally like a first. This isn't like the release trailer. This game still has, well, it doesn't have a lot of dev time left, but it still has the better part of
yeah,
6
this game was
months.
supposed to come
to
out
a
this year, right? Like,
Yeah.
originally before it got delayed. I don't know, man. Like, I hope it hits next
The
year.
planets looked
I
interesting.
really hope it hits.
There's just a lot of people who are like, let's reduce the number of planets because why do we need so many
I don't know.
planets?
That's a dumb complaint. But like, let me just say, if this game gets delayed again, there will be riots. Like, people will not be happy.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
honestly, I could see it happening. Like, yeah, I don't think there's any sort of guarantee that this is actually going to hit next summer or spring or whenever they said. I think they said next spring, actually, which is not that far away. So we'll see. So that is the Xbox showcase in a nutshell. I will say, I do think it's a little baffling. I don't think Xbox has any first-party games coming out in 2022, do they?
Bethesda games. Wait, no, they don't. Hold on. What
Redfall
other
is
first-party
2023 as
studios
well.
does Xbox have?
Yeah, which is crazy to me, right? Like with all their first-party studios.
Obsidian. Obsidian might have a game coming out this year, I think.
Okay, yeah, surely they have to have at least
Grounded is Obsidian.
at least one game.
That's coming out
That's
this
what
year.
was funny.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of these things, but none of them did I like enough to actually pay attention to the release date. I was just like, oh, that'll be nice when it gets here.
Yeah, I feel like most of the stuff they showed, especially the big games, were 2023, which I guess, right? Like if you're an Xbox fan, you've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. What's another year going to do? So
We're still reeling from COVID and stuff.
that's true. Yeah. But that is the Xbox showcase in a nutshell. Overall, I thought it was a good showcase. I thought it had a lot of variety. I thought
Yeah.
and I very much appreciated like all of the gameplay we saw. And
From
we saw
a watchability standpoint, it flowed really well too.
yeah.
Like if we're rating it on that.
A lot of beloved old games coming into the fold, new games like Starfield finally being shown after people have been waiting for that for years at this point. So I don't think
We've been hearing rumors about it for centuries.
yeah, for eons. So yeah, I was pleased. Any last thoughts on the Xbox showcase?
Starfield, good. Bethesda, good. I will inhale that Bethesda copium until the day I die.
I just need more Doom. It needed more Doom. That's all.
No Doom yet. Yeah, maybe next year they'll announce it.
Yeah, I mean,
A
it
new
wasn't
Doom.
that long ago that the second Doom DLC came out. So
Yeah. I'm sure they're working on Doom 3. You know, the new Doom 3. All right, so that was that. So that was probably the biggest thing that happened in our hiatus, right? Another thing that happened was a Sony State of Play, right? It wasn't a big showcase like this one, but it did have a lot of interesting news, I think. So maybe we can just quickly go over that before we get into the games we've been playing. Resident Evil 4 Remake announced. Now, this one is the one people have been waiting for, right? Resident Evil 4, seen by many as a seminal game, genre-defining game, right? Like, and now it's getting a remake. So I have never actually played Resident Evil 4, so I'm very much looking forward to playing this. And I have sort of formed a tradition of playing these Resident Evil games with my sister, so I'll probably end up doing that. And I actually got into Resident Evil when they started making these remakes. So these remakes are my first exposure to these games, and I've enjoyed every single one of them. So looking forward to that for sure. You guys have any thoughts on Resident Evil?
never played any of them.
I mean, it's cool.
They're fun.
It's that little last bit of nostalgia for those people.
Like the first few, at least the ones I played, they're like dumb, campy games that do have some elements of horror, but like they're fun games, I think.
Yeah,
and then 7 and 8 are where they kind of paradigm shifted and they're like a lot different.
Yeah, people are kind of worried about Resident Evil 4 being remade in the new style because it was so different from the first three. Like it was more of an action horror game.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, there
It's
is
where the
that
series started pivoting from survival horror to action
there is that
horror.
concern.
It's also been remade like a dozen times now, which is really funny. Like there's
There
Resident
was
Evil
like
4
a-
VR, there's Resident Evil 4. Like it was originally a GameCube exclusive, and then it got ported
Wild,
I think
yeah.
to literally everything under the sun.
But now this is a full blown remake with like
Yeah.
you know current gen assets, which is cool.
The VR one was a full remake as well, which is funny because it came out like less than a year ago.
Yeah, but I mean, this one is not going to use the same assets and stuff as the VR game.
Yeah, I know. Which is why it's so funny that they're doing two full remakes and like.
I mean, Resident Evil 4 is one of those games, right? Like
Yeah.
people like that, you know, like
They'll
clearly.
also be like this remake and the VR game will be completely different games. They will not.
Oh yeah,
be,
absolutely, yeah.
Because the VR one had to make a ton of changes because, like, you know, it's so much easier to shoot a gun in VR than it was in Resident Evil 4, for instance.
But yeah, Resident Evil 4 being as beloved as it is, a lot of people are concerned that it won't, you know, it'll change too much from the original, which I get, right? Like Resident Evil 3 Remake. Like, okay, so Resident Evil 2 Remake was a great adaptation of Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 3 Remake, they cut a lot of stuff. So people are rightfully concerned about Resident Evil 4, but hopefully Capcom knows how beloved it is, and they put the proper love into it.
Capcom also, like, they've been firing all cylinders for a while now.
They have, yeah. They're shockingly quality. That's the best way to put it. Like,
they had a
everything they put out is good.
That I don't really think there was enough there for us to talk about too long, but I watched it.
I mean, their biggest hits got revealed at this state of play.
I don't think they talked about Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak.
But they revealed Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, that is a pretty heavy hitter. Not as heavy a hitter as Monster Hunter in Japan, at least, but
okay, maybe I'll give you that. But
Monster Hunter's like the Japanese Call of Duty, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
so I guess we already mentioned it, so we could talk about, you know, finally we got a Street Fighter 6 reveal. Street Fighter 5 was actually exclusive to PlayStation and PC. Street Fighter 6 is coming to everything, Xbox included, which is good. And I gotta say, right, so like I've never really played Street Fighter, but I really dig the art style to this game, and I think I'll probably pick this one up and finally try it out.
I've never been into Street Fighter, but...
You know, fun fact, so Street Fighter, I think, 4? Yeah, Street Fighter 4 was my first T-rated game that I ever played.
Nice. Was it? No. Well, when did that come out?
A long time ago.
Wasn't Super Smash Bros. Melee rated T? Rated T for teen, comic mischief and mild violence.
Okay, wait a minute.
I'll tell you why I know that. It was my first, Super Smash Bros. Melee was my first rated T game, and one of my friends used to play it with me all the time, and then his mom found out that he'd been playing rated T games at my house, and he got in trouble, and I'll never forget, because I thought it was really dumb.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. Something's wrong in my brain then, because I remember Street Fighter 4 being my first, maybe it wasn't 4, maybe it was like a version of 3 or something. But Street Fighter was my first T-rated game when I played it. But anyway, yeah, Street Fighter 6 announced, totally new visual style, looks cool, and I think I might check it out. They announced Resident Evil Village for PSVR 2, which is really cool. Which, by the way, PSVR 2 very much shaping up to be a heavy hitter at launch, right? It's getting Resident Evil Village. They announced Walking Dead Saints and Sinners.
No Man's Sky.
Chapter 2 for PSVR 2, which I hear is a fantastic VR game. I haven't played it. No Man's Sky for PSVR 2. It was like in
the same conversation as Half-Life Alyx, so it's probably pretty good.
And
No Man's Sky is pretty good in VR as well.
And probably the biggest one, first party developed Horizon Call of the Mountain for PSVR 2. So that's going to be pretty gorgeous from what I've seen.
With the PlayStation 5 to let me try it.
Come to DC, man.
Yeah. Well, I could buy a PlayStation 5 for the amount of gas it would cost me.
Yeah, actually, yes. All right. So yeah, there were a slew of PSVR 2 announcements, which is good. Very glad to see them supporting that. And I think these are all going to be like launch games for PSVR 2, which bodes well for the system.
PSVR 2 is going to be like,
I really hope it succeeds.
It's going to be the kill, like, that's where VR is going to live, because, like, there hasn't been a lot of VR stuff, like, on the PC market lately.
I do hope PSVR 2 gives VR in general a shot in the arm. That's kind of what I'm hoping happens.
Because I want to get a Valve Index. I was, like, looking at them and stuff, but, like, for what? Like, what am I already played Half-Life Alyx, so...
God, I hope Half-Life Alyx comes to PSVR 2.
I hope... Yeah, I have two hopes. I hope that Half-Life Alyx comes to PSVR 2. I think that it will. I also sincerely hope that Sony continues the trend of porting to PC and gives us on PC some of these games.
Oh, they absolutely... Okay, so that's a great segue.
Like Resident Evil, like the VR stuff is what I mean specifically.
No, I could see it, like, dude, after this announcement, everything's fair game. They announced that Spider-Man is coming to PC. Spider-Man is going to sell millions and millions of copies on PC.
I might buy this game again, just like if it has a mod scene.
Like, I
literally
cannot
at all.
overstate how huge this game is going to be on PC. Like,
And
both Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales are coming to PC.
Oh, really? When's Miles coming?
I think a little later.
Okay, because I haven't played that yet, and I will definitely get that on. That, I mean, I hate to say it, that was like one of the big reasons I would have ever gotten a PS5 was to play, you know, Spider-Man 2 and stuff, and that's not going to happen now.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2, like, obviously won't come to PC day one, I think, but, like, a year later, it'll show up, I'm saying. So, okay, so this being announced, I think means that, like, this is Sony's biggest game. This is Sony's biggest game ever, like, in terms of sales.
Yeah.
And they're throwing this on PC, right? They are all in on PC. And what even cemented it even more was when they announced The Last of Us Part 1 remake is coming to PC as well. All of their big IP, Uncharted, Spider-Man, Last of Us, God of War, everything is on PC now. Which, crazy how quickly this is developed, right? Like,
Speaking of Sony, can we talk about Last of Us Remaster?
That's also
remake?
coming to PC.
it's coming to PC, yeah.
I hate the fact that they're remaking a game that's less than 10
Oh,
years
I'm
old.
annoyed by it. Like,
I mean,
think
like,
it's pointless.
It's so obnoxious.
I don't think it needs to be remade, right?
Actually, so here's
but
my
on the flip side of that argument, like, what, Demon Souls was also, like, only a decade old when they remade it. Like, I don't know.
My thought is that maybe it started out as just a PC port, but like they were putting enough into the PC port for The Last of Us, like that they were like, we might as well throw this on, you know, PS5 as well since we're doing so much for it. Like,
So the full story behind it is that I think Sony Bend, or it was either Sony Bend or someone else, was tasked with remaking The Last of Us, and I'm pretty sure Naughty Dog was unhappy with how it was going, so they took over development themselves.
interesting.
Oh, yeah, Last of Us was released 2013. Demon Souls was released in 2009.
Yeah, so I don't know, like,
Yeah, those timelines add up mostly.
yeah, it's so like
The game was released within the last 8 years.
I mean, I'm not gonna buy The Last of Us remake,
And then it
but
was re-released again on PlayStation 4 a year later.
I liked The Last of Us when I played it on PS3 and all, but I'm not gonna buy it on PC.
yeah. I'm certainly going to buy The Last of Us Part 1 on PS5 because, and this is the biggest reason, the gameplay is now Last of Us 2 gameplay. So the gameplay is going to be a lot more fast-paced, a lot more frenetic, and a lot more just kinetic and explosive. And I've said this before, Last of Us Part 2 has some of my favorite gameplay in a third-person shooter ever. So the fact that it's getting applied to Part 1, it makes it a much more enticing game to me.
If they put the guitar in, it will talk.
The guitar. Gosh, yeah. Imagine the amount of effort that I had to go into making that guitar realistic. That's crazy.
I mean, complicated, probably.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
just
I mean,
neat
it
stuff,
took a
but
lot of time, you know, compared to how little it was in the game, but
I would say it took, compared to how little it was in the game, but it's exactly the same as the Ocarina and Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Like, it's the
yeah,
same
but like,
thing.
I don't know, like the visual fidelity too, like her fingers like deform when she like puts the frets down and stuff, like crazy stuff like that, but
Yeah.
just Naughty Dog things. Anyway, okay, so PC, Sony's showing up in full force. All bets are off, I think now. Like I think every single, because like before when we talked about it, I was just like, yeah, their big games will come out, but like exclusives, like I don't know, Last of Us, Spider-Man, I couldn't see showing up. All of that announced for PC. All bets are off. Everything is going to show up on PC one day. So if you're not concerned about playing games day one on PlayStation, you're in luck because all PS exclusives, I imagine, are going to be on PC now.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about Spider-Man. Quickly, Horizon Forbidden West, they announced a couple updates, like a New Game Plus, Ultra Hard Mode, and a redo of the Performance Mode, which I can report is now phenomenal. Like, the whatever solution they used for their Performance Mode on PS5, it basically looks the same as Fidelity Mode now, and it just runs at 60 FPS, so definitely some magic going on there.
I wonder if they have FSR in there. Because consoles are AMD.
I don't think it's FSR, because if it was, I think they would have said it. But
I don't know.
And
FSR 2.0 being a thing now, though, is going to affect PS5 games in a big way, I bet. And it's
like
gorgeous. It looks very good.
It very well could be. Like, it's just as someone who, plays PS5 games, right? Like, I was playing Horizon in 30 FPS because the quality hit to performance mode was too much. I couldn't believe what I was seeing after this update. Like, I toggled back and forth. They were the same. Well, and one was just 30 FPS, one was 60, same image quality, everything. I was stunned.
Yeah.
So whatever they did, it definitely seems like magic. But the game runs at a flawless 60 with like perfect image quality now. So that's the way to play it if you're going to play Horizon Forbidden West.
If you're going to play Horizon Forbidden West on a PlayStation.
On a PlayStation, yeah. Like, or wait a year and it'll come to PC and you can play it whenever you want. Yeah.
I mean, I'll probably be playing it in the equivalent of performance mode. I use DLSS anytime I get the chance.
Yeah.
So it's just free performance.
And this was a kind of like a surprise, kind of like star of the show to me. Stray.
It had been announced before, right?
It had been announced, but this is the first time we saw, like, I think, like, extended gameplay and stuff. Yeah, I really like this
adorable.
game.
Yeah, I'm gonna...
and I'm definitely gonna play it. Yeah.
Is it first party? Or is it coming to PC?
I think it's PlayStation first.
Okay.
And I think it's free for like the people who subscribe to the higher tiers of PlayStation Plus.
Oh,
so
it's
I'll
coming
be
to PS4, so maybe I'll play it there.
I'll be getting this one for free, which is kind of neat. But yeah, it looks super cute.
You bought like 3 years of that stuff, didn't you?
I bought 10 years of it because
10 years.
Well, okay, let me I think I already explained myself on
yeah.
the podcast, but maybe the episode didn't come out yet. But like there was this deal where they were like, "Hey, you can get the highest tier of PlayStation for $60 a year," which is the same I pay for anyway for just the online connectivity and the 2 games a month, the basic PlayStation Plus. So it's just like I'm already paying $60 a year. I might as well just lock in here and get the benefits.
$600.
I don't know, man. You do what you got to do.
You do it. Yeah, no, I don't blame you at all. It is funny though.
Either that or pay $60 a year for 10 years. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah, I know. Wow.
But
interest.
So, Mike, this is where they showed the Callisto protocol. Actually,
They showed it. I think in the State of Play, and they also showed it during the main Summer Games Fest stream.
Right.
That's, I think.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the Summer Games. Oh, it was kind of a dud. It was kind of a dud.
That's where they showed Call of Duty too. Well, Callisto Protocol.
Callisto Protocol,
good and routine.
Certainly, it has taken inspiration from Dead Space. It's basically Dead Space, right? That's kind of what it seems like to me. Is that an accurate read?
It was a lot of updates on games that were announced like years ago.
But for Callisto Protocol, what do you make of it, Mike?
It does look like Dead Space, and I do enjoy it. I will play it.
Interestingly, it comes out, I think, like a month or two before the Dead Space remake, which is also happening. So, space-themed horror games having a bit of a renaissance here, so that's cool. Okay. Rollerdrome, which is a new game by the developers of Ollie Ollie World, which is, I don't know, people are into this, but not really my kind of game. You kind of like it's like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but on rollerblades, and it's also like somehow a third-person shooter. I don't know. Seems kind of goofy. Eternites, which is some anime nonsense. No offense. Don't really know about that.
He says after loving Persona.
Oh, come on. Yeah, there's a difference. There isn't a difference. I don't know. It's
a mixed
Persona.
bag.
It's Persona. Come on. And
Persona gets a pass for being the best of the best.
Persona is the shining example. Something I really appreciated seeing. Tunic was announced for PlayStation 4 and 5 coming out this fall, which is I'm very much looking forward to playing Tunic. Definitely very high on my future playlist.
Tunic is goated. It's so good.
Season a letter to the future. I don't remember this at all. Don't know what this is about. Maybe it sounds kind of like a... actually, I don't know. I was going to say walking simulator, but I'm not quite sure what this is. Just scrolling through the trailer. But anyway.
You think Final Fantasy XVI is going to be exclusive, or will it come to PC?
Well, okay, so that was my final one, right? Like the big one, right, that they ended with was Final Fantasy XVI getting a release date next summer. It is going to be exclusive for an unspecified amount of time. Probably a year at least, I think.
Well, that's okay.
So Sony locked that one down because I guess they know their audience, big Final Fantasy fans. Which, I don't know, man. Like, I still feel like I haven't really broken into Final Fantasy. Like,
Final
Fantasy 15 was okay. Like, I played a chunk of it, and I didn't really feel compelled to continue.
Oh, I don't know 15, but I tried to, like, break into the others after that. and I just was not into it. And which is funny because people didn't like 15 that much.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe there's like two camps here. But like 16, I don't know. From everything I've seen, it looks cool. Like it looks interesting. And I think, I don't know.
It wasn't
Like,
that long before the 7 remake came to PC, so it might not be that long.
I think I'll wait for reviews on 16, and if everyone's saying like you gotta play it, then I'll give it a shot. But like,
Yeah.
I'm not a big Final Fantasy guy. I don't know. Maybe I haven't played the right ones. I haven't played 7. I haven't played 7 Remake. Maybe that's the whole reason why I'm not like being blown away by this. But like, people were losing their minds over this. So those are the big game announcements over the past. I don't even remember. So actually, just for funsies, let's look up the last time we put out an episode.
It's going to
Year
be
ago.
like closer to a month and a
been-
half than a month, I think, because we had those 2 episodes.
Okay, so it's saying 2 months. So, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, life has been kind of hectic for me, at least lately. I've been doing a lot of traveling, seeing friends all over the country.
I mean, I started a new job. Mike,
Yeah.
you started a new job as well, didn't you?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the same job, but it's a different job.
So I mean,
But
same,
hopefully
basically.
we can have some semblance of continuity again. Now that I think we're kind of all in more stable places, so that's good.
Yeah.
Do we want to move on to what we've been playing?
Yes.
Boy, do I have a list.
Yeah.
I'll run through the
Yeah,
small
Mike,
stuff.
do you want to kick us off?
as like one large? Yeah. So there's 2 smaller things I've been playing. I haven't played a lot of them. I don't have a lot to say about them. But I tried to play Outward for a little bit, and it just kind of felt weird.
What is Outward?
Outward is an RPG that prides itself on being a hard survival experience, in quotes. Everything murders you very quickly, and it is very easy to die, and sometimes you'll eat an egg wrong, and it'll give you dysentery.
Super relatable.
I kid you not. Super relatable. Yeah, literally the first thing the game throws at you is you have to pay your taxes.
Oh, great.
That's the first quest the game throws at you. You must make enough gold to pay
I
off
know
your
that's
taxes
why
or
I
you'll
play
lose your
video
home.
games, to remind me of paying my taxes.
Like-
People love Animal Crossing, and it's about paying a mortgage.
Like, it's the combat isn't bad. It is it feels like a Souls-like almost, but I just couldn't get into it, and I might play it more once the person I've been playing it with, my co-op partner, actually gets back from the grave. Not the real grave, but the metaphorical grave. Gone for the summer.
Right. Okay.
The other game I've been playing, I played a little bit of, was Risk of Rain 2.
Yeah, I think
feel
Ryan
like-
Kubik, fan of our show, has given that game lots of props.
It's fun. I'm bad at it, and I just only play it with friends, but it's not bad. It is
It's a
enjoyable.
roguelite, right?
Yeah. In a sense,
It's all like Risk of Rain 1, but 3D, isn't it?
yeah, it's not a roguelike in the sense that I wouldn't necessarily call it a roguelike.
Okay.
I think they call it a roguelike.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
they do. It doesn't feel like your traditional roguelike. Like if you're playing co-op, everyone has to die to wipe a run.
That's true of Spelunky, too, though.
Which it works out. There's also a setting to not turn off randomized loot, which is how me and my friends play it. So we can choose what we get. So we end up building what we want. So the way I've been playing it doesn't feel like a roguelike.
Interesting, yeah. That's cool that they have so many options for it, though. Like,
Yeah, seems
I
flexible.
think that a lot of roguelikes, like one of my favorites, Noita, would benefit a lot from like being able to
option to choose
set a
your loot.
fixed loot pool just until you can get good. Like, it doesn't hurt my experience for other people to have a better experience for themselves.
Yeah. I guess I could talk about Bloodhunt a little bit too, as like the third
Is that
small
another Vampire
game. Yeah, Vampire the Masquerade
Oh,
Bloodhunt.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a Vampire the Masquerade Battle Royale. That's pretty much it. It's kind of unbalanced, and I don't like it that much.
Is that all you have to say?
Yeah, that's about all I have to say about it. I can hear my roommate, I think, singing in the background, and I'm hoping it's not being picked
It's
up
not.
right now.
I don't hear it.
Yeah, I can hear it.
I can go next. So I actually have not played too many video games since the last time we recorded. I guess it's just one of those phases for me where I'm doing other things. But one game I have played quite a bit of, and I do want to talk about, is Switch Sports. So Switch Sports came out, like a couple months ago now, and I gotta say, anytime I'm in like a social gathering and video games are involved, I'm playing Switch Sports, and it's a lot of fun, man. Like obviously, like bowling is the basic go-to that everyone can play, but I've really taken a shine to like volleyball, and maybe that's just because of my love of like Haikyuu. But yeah, definitely enjoy playing volleyball a lot with my friends. And like I remember I was over at my friend Josh's house, and we got hyper competitive. Like we were like playing on a team together, and we were just like super into it and like screaming and stuff, and it was a lot of fun. But I think all the games in that collection are winners, right? Like I enjoyed volleyball, bowling. I think tennis is super fun, right? Like I think there's just enough like strategy and like nuance involved in those games. Like no, I'm not saying each of them are like super hyper in depth or anything, but like there's just enough to where like you can really like try and get good at the game. And it's not just like it can serve as like just like a surface level party game and have some competitive depth to it too, which is something I really appreciate.
I'm kind of surprised I didn't get into it. I didn't buy it because I was at the beach the day it came out, and that was kind of like that. I never really thought about it again.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I haven't really played online too much, so I don't know like how popular the scene is, but like back when I first got it, like especially for games like soccer, like matches would like fill up instantly. And let me tell you, soccer is a lot of fun too, right? Like it's no Rocket League, but it's plenty of fun.
That was kind of the problem. I saw the soccer was the one that jumped out at me, and then I just thought like I'm gonna play this and I'm gonna think, man, I have Rocket League on my Switch. Like, what am I doing?
I mean, it is fun. Don't get me wrong. And
I thought the Chambara looked fun.
Chambara, that's probably my least favorite of the 6 games that are currently out, but it's pretty good too. It can get hyper suspenseful, like if you draw, so like it's like a best of 3, right? So if you win one and the opponent wins one, or there are 2 draws or whatever, there's a tiebreaker round. And in the tiebreaker round, like the entire arena falls away, and basically, like if you make one mistake, you fall into the water. So it becomes like super intense. Yeah.
So I think we'd be having a totally different discussion right now if this game took place on Woohoo Island.
Yeah, that is the integration with Woohoo Island it gave Wii Sports Resort a lot of charm.
It gave it a lot of life. There's a YouTube channel called Eurothug 4000 that has a really great video about it, but I loved Woohoo Island. I loved it every time it came up in any Nintendo game. And I just don't know why they ditched it here, because they put a lot.
Yeah, I don't know.
Into it.
Like the presentation is very kind of like utilitarian.
It's
like
sterile.
here are the games. Like there's no fluff. Just play them.
And also like the game choice was kind of wild. Like you got 3 net-based sports. Like
yeah, and I know they're adding golf like this fall. I don't know if there are any follow-up sports. I certainly hope there are. But like
golf.
Yeah, I don't know. Like
it's a little light on content.
It is a little light, but the games it does have, I think, are all very good. So what do we talk about? We talked Shambara, bowling, tennis, badminton, volleyball. I'm missing one. What am I missing? Soccer, right?
Oh, yeah, soccer, yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. Good. I think it's a decent...
I know it was like $40, right?
Collection of games.
$60 game.
I think it was either 40 or 50. I don't remember now.
It's 60. It's 50 or 60 in person because they give you the leg strap to play soccer.
Yeah, I got it digitally. I didn't need you don't need the leg strap.
I have the leg strap because I have Ring Fit. So
right, yeah, but you don't need it to play soccer.
No.
But yeah, I've had a lot of fun playing the various games. Definitely an excellent like social game if you're playing with people like IRL, and the online works too, right? Like it's not like super laggy or anything. I mean, obviously, if your partner's connection sucks or something, like then you're gonna have problems. But like from what I've seen, the online implementation is just fine too. Matchmaking works very quickly, and like there are no hitches once you're in the game. So solid game. I just wish there were more sports, right? Like that you can't get around that, right? Like the sports that are there, I think are pretty quality, but like definitely when you compare it to like Wii Sports Resort, it's lacking in terms of quantity.
Yeah.
But enjoying it quite a bit. And I'll kick it over to, I guess, you now, Connor.
I think Mike is actually about to talk about the only game that I've really played that was really that interesting, but I
wasn't going to talk about because I have a big game.
Oh, you're not going to talk
about,
V Rising? Okay.
Oh, no. I was going to let you talk about it and just chime in. Because I think we both put about the same amount of time into it.
I don't want to discuss then. V Rising, I put a little bit of time into it. I picked it up, played it about 2 hours, and I like it so far. The way I've been describing it to people is like it's the current flavor of the month survival game, which it is really what it is. But it's pretty fun. You're a vampire in it. You gotta like collect blood. It has a bunch of like vampire mechanics. And I'm like enjoying it well enough so far. I like the building mechanics in it where you're like building a castle. I think its adherence to vampire tropes is like a pretty big strength. I think, it's charming in a way that maybe like Valheim's building didn't necessarily feel Viking-y to me. The boats certainly did. But everything in V Rising feels very vampiric to me, and I like that. That's kind of, I only played it. If we're making this a review, I don't know if I'm ever going to play it again because I don't have people to play it with.
If I can get my friends
Yeah,
into
exactly.
it,
That's where I'm at too.
like, I think I'm going to get my friends into it. The resource, it has a problem with it doesn't know its identity and it wants to be very grindy at base levels. So it's just Ark, but 2D, Ark or Rust, where you have to turn up the resource values to have any modicum of a fun
When I'm
game.
playing it, like it's almost like a Diablo-y game where I'm like going on the hunt, using my vampire powers and killing stuff. I'm having a pretty good time. When I'm like hitting a rock to get copper out of it, I'm thinking like, why was this here at all? What was the point? Who's having a good time doing this? So
yeah, and it kind of exposes PvP and PvE elements.
See, I haven't played any multiplayer, so
I have no interest in PvP.
That's the other thing it kind of gets wrong is that Valheim has that great system where you can like your character is yours and you can take it into any world with you. And I get that the castle building is such a huge element of this. I don't know how they would do that necessarily, but it is annoying to me that if I want to play multiplayer, I have to start a new character for that server. And that's just not that great to me.
Yeah, that seems bad.
Yeah, it's not, I don't know. It's an early access game. They could fix that. I don't think they will though. I don't know. It's a fun game. It's $20 or whatever. If you have a group of friends to play it with, I think you'll have a good time. I don't have a group of friends to play it with right now, so I don't know that I'm gonna really get into it.
Yeah, I saw like NL stream it for a little bit, and I don't think he was too enthused by it. But from what I saw, it looked like another survival game with just like a vampire coat of paint.
Exactly,
which
it's a flavor
which could be fun with could be fun with friends. But
yeah, I don't think it's as good as Valheim, which is kind of
Valheim is like the gold standard now for survival games. Like everything that Valheim did, survival games should do on the baseline because it nailed it. There's no pointless meters to manage.
Yeah, even like the way it handled eating food was kind of brilliant.
Yeah, you ate food to get more health,
and variety.
It wasn't managing a meter. It was, hey, you should eat this food for more stamina, or you need to eat this food to have more health.
Made variety matter in your diet. Yeah, I think that was really cool.
Yeah,
and I think
it just felt like you weren't managing meters in Valheim.
So V Rising is good. Valheim is better. I think I also, since that was kind of short, I don't have a ton to say. I want to shout out the Quarry because I don't think we're ever going to get another chance to talk about it because I don't think that any of us are going to play it.
I'm going to play the Quarry for sure.
You're going to play it? Okay,
yeah,
I'm going to wait until after you've played it because I have some thoughts on it.
I loved Until Dawn so much, and I'm just waiting to play the Quarry with some of my friends. That's going to be like an event when we all get together and play it.
Okay, I'll wait and talk about it when you have played it then because I've watched Northern Lion play through most of it.
Yeah, it's annoying. I actually, I almost watch his stream every day now, and I had to click off because I was like, I'm going to play the Quarry.
Yeah, I actually hate that because I actually really like the game, but I hate that I have spoiled it to the point that there's really no point in me playing it now.
Yeah. So, definitely clicked off. Definitely going to play the Quarry.
I'll toss it back to Mike then.
Yeah, so the big game I've been playing a good bit of is Generation Zero.
What is that? Interesting name.
So the game takes place in 1980s, on a 1980s era Swedish island where the robots have taken over. And everyone's dead, missing. I don't know yet. The story is kind of unclear as to where the people are. But there's robots, and they're big, and they hurt. The game progresses. You start on this small island off of the main island. And the robots they're manageable. You can kill them. They do a little bit of damage, but if you know what you're doing, they're fine. Then you get off the island. And all of a sudden, the robots are now back to being a major threat.
So what kind of game is it?
It's an open world survival, but it's not a survival. It's more of an open world kind of crafting game. There's not a lot of survival elements.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just you go to this point. The game loop boils down to go to this point, loot, interact with quest object, kill robots, repeat. That's the loop. But the co-op's pretty nice. I've been playing it through with my good friend Mark.
It's a really pretty game.
It's very beautiful, and it has some issues if you're not the host. Like, I've been hearing that people who are not hosts have been having major frame rate and lag issues.
You'll get that, yeah.
Not like game lag, but like the game hitching,
that's
which is
weird.
weird. Yeah, it's super weird. There's no dedicated servers for it, but the robot combat almost makes up for it because it has a part-based damage system, kind of like Horizon did, I believe.
Yep.
Where you have to shoot certain parts and they'll pop off. You won't get loot from them, but they do extra damage. So if you shoot like one of the little dog robots that run around, if you shoot the fuel tank, generally they'll die in one shot. Usually. Depends on if you hit with the right kind of weapon. But every robot has weak points, and you can shoot their guns off, you can shoot armor plates off, you can do a lot. It's honestly the most fun I've had fighting robots, and they all hit like trucks. Sometimes I'll be minding my business and I'll eat a missile.
I was going to say, in that sense, it does sound very similar to Horizon, because especially in Forbidden West, I don't know what they did to the combat, but like everything hits like a truck. Maybe I'm just like under-leveled or under-equipped or something, but like I die in like a couple hits, and it's kind of frustrating.
Yeah, the game gave me a 50 caliber sniper rifle, and for a little bit I thought I was like the top mark. No, I wasn't. Not then we met stronger robots. It just keeps throwing out more difficulty, and I love it. I'm in love with the systems. I'm in love with the aesthetic, the 80s. It feels like a pulp 80s, one of those 80s action movies, or not action movies, but you know the genre where it's a bunch of teens fighting against something like Red Dawn or whatever. Except it's giant robots and you're Swedish.
That does sound nice, though.
Sound like a good aesthetic.
Yeah, there's a stealth mechanic too. Yeah, it has decent stealth mechanics. So there's a lot of fights where I just look at Mark and I'm like, I don't think we can fight this. Let's just continue crawling along the ground for long periods. I'm in love with it. I can't recommend it enough if you can get past some of the jank. But it is still being actively developed. I think they just added a base building system, and they're working on another update for something.
Nice. Yeah, you know me. Like I generally stay away from games that are early access, but like when this thing finally comes out,
this isn't early. It's not early access. It's full release.
Okay, you said still in development, so I kind of assumed.
Yeah, I think they're treating it like a live service.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's not considered early access. Like, it's a fully functional game, and they're adding, like, story DLC and everything. And their DLC is relatively cheap. Like, their weapons packs are $4, and one of them gave me a flamethrower.
Nice.
Which absolutely is busted.
You got anything else?
I have nothing else on Generation Zero. I think I've said my piece about it.
Connor, you have anything else?
Nope, I'm done.
So I was going to say one more thing, but I think I'll save it for later because I'm still sort of getting my feet wet with this game. And it's one of those games that just has so much depth. It's just like, I want to be able to talk about it authoritatively. It's Crusader Kings III. I finally bit...
Oh boy!
I finally bit the bullet and played it. And let me tell you, this game is like absolutely incredible. But like, I want to wait a little bit before I play a little more and have more to say.
I can fill you in here because Crusader Kings III is probably one of my
Oh yeah, you
favorite. Well, not my favorite Paradox.
you've mentioned it a couple times on the show, and like I've always intended to play it, but I finally bit the bullet, bought it, and played it with my cousin, and I was just like, this game makes like Civilization look like a kindergarten puzzle. You know, like there's so much happening at once. It's crazy.
The thing about Crusader Kings as well is you can't treat it like a Civilization game where you just want to expand.
No, you can't
expand as fast as possible.
You can't. Like,
you want to set your dynasty up. That's what I've learned.
Okay, so I guess we're talking about it. So like it's very Game of Thronesy in that it's all about your family, right? It's about like who you marry, who, like, you know, your children, you know, whether they're successful or not, like, and
down to their genetics.
Yeah, right. Like certain genetics traits that you have get passed to your children, be they positive or negative, right? And like, I don't know, you can set up alliances by marrying into the right family, and then that sort of expands your sort of sphere of influence, and like you can develop your land to increase your army, and then like potentially go on conquests. It's just the level of depth, and like when you die, like of sickness, or if you're assassinated or something, you play as your kid. Like you're the one that's going to inherit your title. And if you don't have a kid, that's game over. Basically, your game's just done.
Your dynasty's dead.
So it's very prudent to like when me and my cousin played, like we each had like, I don't know, like 10 wives, and we were popping out babies left and right, and like.
Oh, were you playing as one of the? I want to say, I think the only ones that do that are the Buddhist empires and the Muslim.
I think we were one of the Muslim empires, yeah. So, like...
Because I know the Christians don't do... None of the Christian sects that are currently playable.
Yeah, and that's another interesting thing, right? Like, each different... There are, like, so many different sort of countries and, like, places you can pick. And it's not even countries, right? Like, you can pick, like, civilizations at, like, the kingdom level, or you could pick it all the way down to, like, the duchy level, where you're just, like, managing some, like, plot of land somewhere, right? And, like, I find that the most fascinating, right? Like, we started a couple of games, right? And I found the most enjoyment out of being the lowest on the totem pole and then trying to work my way up all the way to the point where I was like, yes, I am, like, the emperor or the king or whatever. And it is just really cool that, like, there is that stratification there where you can play at, like, almost every single one of those levels. And, like, it was cool because, like, once I advanced to, like, the, oh gosh, even forgot what it's called, but, like, not the king, but, like, the, I think it was, like, the duchy level ruler, like, up from the county level ruler.
Yeah, you moved to, like, a count.
Like, I had, like, some people in my, like, circle of like advisors and or whatever, but I also served as like the financial advisor on like my king's like circle of advisors, right? So like there is
you were a
steward. That's the right term. Yeah. So like it's very cool how like there's that interconnectivity between the different sort of like strata of like classes in this game.
The character system builds around these plots.
Yeah.
Like, I was playing a ruler in Spain. I think I've told this story on the podcast before. I created a custom ruler who played the Adamite faith, which meant that everyone in my faith was naked.
Yeah,
just because I thought it'd be funny to conquer Spain with a bunch of new people. And the Irish kept assassinating me.
Right. That's another thing I didn't even get into, right? Like, the dynamic storytelling, right? Like, events can just happen and, like, dynamically create stories that like define your empire, right? Like someone could, you know, like you go to war with someone. Like this actually happened to me. I went to war with someone and I took a prisoner of war. Decades passed and I was just like, fine, I'll let you out of prison or whatever in exchange for like some money. And then a few years later, the same guy that I imprisoned for decades plotted an assassination plot to assassinate me. And luckily my guards caught him and stuff. So like obviously that wouldn't have happened if I had just executed him or left him in prison or something. But the fact I showed mercy, he held grudges, and he tried to kill me later. One interesting thing, right? Like, when you play the tutorial, and this is tracked within the game, every character has a relationship with every other character in the game. So so we're talking like thousands, right? Like, because we're talking about the entire, you know, half of the planet with like Europe, parts of Asia, parts of Africa, etc. So all these characters in all these different kingdoms and dynasties, even like down to the lowest peasant up to the highest king or emperor, has a relationship with everyone else. So like you might not directly know someone, but even based off like what faith they are or like where they live in the world, you have a character has like a surface level opinion of them, right? And the more you interact with them, the more your relationship develops. But it's just crazy that there's this insane map, this web of relationships, and that's sort of what the entire game is based on, how those relationships change over time. I don't know, man. It's an incredible game. I've never played anything like it. And I still feel like I've only scratched the surface, right? We haven't even played, like, the furthest we got in one of our games was that like my first generation king died and the son took over. Like I have barely scratched the surface on a playthrough for this. So yeah, Crusader Kings III definitely lived up to the hype. The complexity is out of this world, but I'm here for it for sure. I think that's all I have to say for now, though. All right.
Yeah, I think I talked about it in a previous podcast.
You did
at some point,
for sure.
Yeah, the complexity of that game amazes me, and it's much more accessible than Crusader Kings II ever was.
That's wild to me, man. Like, but like, it is like they do tell you everything. It's just a lot of information to retain. It's like a crazy amount.
They have nested tooltips now, and I like that because Crusader Kings II, to do a simple thing as starting a plot, you had to open 3 different submenus.
Yeah, the nested tooltips are ingenious, nuts. Right? So like, obviously there are going to be a lot of tooltips like describing what different things do in this game, right? But like if a word is highlighted within a tooltip, you can just like hover over that word and it'll open up a tooltip within that tooltip. And it's a great way of just like drilling down and getting the information you need. Really smart, like UI, UX feature there.
It's very well explained and much more accessible than most other Paradox Grand Strategy games. Other than I want to say Stellaris.
Yeah, Stellaris is another one.
Feels super accessible.
Yeah. Gosh, these strategy games, I tell you, man, they're going to be the death of me. Like,
oh god, I've been playing through Hoi 4. I know.
God,
I don't want to talk about Hoi 4 because I already have, and there's not much to talk about World War II.
But yeah, CK3 in particular, like, yeah, I could definitely see this being like another Civ for me, which is a frightening thought. Oh god. But that is all I have, and I think that is all we have for now. So thank you all for listening. We will almost certainly return next week, right? You two? Are you?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, probably next Monday.
Next Monday?
No, we'll record.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm off Monday.
I guess we can talk about this offline, but yeah, Monday or Tuesday would work for me. But yeah, thank you all for listening. You can follow us at That Podcast Game Talk on Twitter. Please like, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, any other podcast services you use. Thank you, Connor and Mike.
Yeah, see you guys next week.
See you next time. Bye.